चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our daily morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are reading from the first canto, The Creation, chapter 6, Conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. And I'm so glad you all are here to hear Srimad Bhagavatam today. Today is Varuthini Ekadashi, and we are supposed to do Upavas. And what better way can there be than Upavas, to stay near Lord Hari, than to engage in his glorification? Because those who have some attraction to hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, they are very fortunate. In Padma Puran, there is a shloka. Budbuddha eva toyeshu mashka eva jantushu jayante maranayeva katha shravanam varjita. So, katha shravana varjita, those who deprive themselves of hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jayante maranayeva, they are only born to die. And there are two examples given. Budbuddha eva toeshu, like when a bubble appears in water and then in few moments the bubble disappears. And mashka eva jantushu, just like the insects, they are also born to die in a short time. So hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam daily is the best way to stay near Lord Hari. Yesterday, His Grace Sakhirai Prabhu started discussing verse 36. So we will continue from there. But before that, let's have a look at a quick summary. In verse 34, we saw that Narada Muni said to Śrīla Vyasadeva that it is my personal experience that in material world, those who are suffering from chinta, anxiety, the only way to get out of this suffering, this anxiety, is Hari Charyanuvarnanam. Anuvarnanam, again and again describing, reciting. And reciting what? Hari Charya, the activities, the Leela of Lord Hari. Otherwise, we'll always be entangled in the chinta, the anxiety of this material world. That's why very famous shloka from 12th canto, it says, Kale dosha nidhe rajan asti eko mahan gunaha kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. Kali Yuga is an ocean of dosh, the faults. But there is only one good quality in Kali Yuga. Kirtanadeva krishnasya, recitation, chanting of the glories of Krishna. And as we saw in this verse 34, there was a word Bhava Sindhu Plavo. Plava means a boat. So Hari Kirtan is like a boat. And in the Bhava Sindhu, the ocean of material ignorance. So even if one is in an ocean, if he is in a boat, then he is protected from the waves of the ocean. So similarly, those who do Kirtanad, Deva Krishnasya, they can be free from material bondage, Mukta Sangha. And then Param Vraje, then they can be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. And let's go to verse 35. In verse 35, Narada Muni said, Yamadi bhir yoga pathai amalo bhato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tathatmadhana shamyati. So, Yamadi bhir yoga pathai, by the path of Yamadi, the path of Ashtanga Yoga. There, Kama Lobha Hato Moho. Kama Lobha, the desire to enjoy senses, and Lobha, the lust. They can be curbed a little bit by Ashtanga Yoga. But Tathat Madhana Shamyati, but that path of Ashtanga Yoga, it is not sufficient to give that full satisfaction. Only by Mukunda Sevaya, by serving Mukunda, Krishna, one can get full satisfaction. Yesterday, His Grace Sakirai Prabhu gave a very inspiring contrast between Vishwamitra Muni and Haridas Thakur. Vishwamitra Muni had, he did tapasya and austerities for thousands and thousands of years. But when an Apsara, Menaka came, his tapasya broke. He lost control on his senses. So he could suppress the senses through Ashtanga Yoga, but he had not given them a higher taste. His senses, he did not give a higher taste to his senses. So that's why when Menka came, he came back to square one and he lost control over his senses. But Haridas Thakur, who came in front of him? Not an ordinary Apsara like Menka, but Maya Devi herself. Maya Devi from whom hundreds and thousands of Apsaras come, that Maya Devi herself came in front of Haridas Thakur. And in form of a woman, Maya Devi came. And Haridas Thakur, he had a vow of chanting 300,000 names of Krishna daily. So even from that beautiful woman, the Maya Devi herself, Haridas Thakur did not get illusion, because he was getting a higher taste. So he could say no to this lower taste. And that's why Narada Muni is saying that Bhakti Rasa is topmost. Now let's go to verse 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 1636. Sarvam tadidamakhyatam yat prushtoham tvayanagha janma karma rahasyam me bhavataschatmatoshanam. Did anyone want to read the translation for me, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I can read.
Yes, please.
O Vyasadeva, you are freed from all sins. Thus I have explained my birth and activities for self-realization, as you asked. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also.
Thank you, Mataji. Let's look at the word to word. Sarvam, all. Tat, that. Idam, is. Akhyadam, described. Yat, whatever. Prushta, asked by. Aham, me. Tvaya, by you. Anagha, without any sins. Janma, birth. Karma, activities. Rahasyam, mysteries. Me, mine. Bhavataha, your. Cha, and. Atma, self. Toshanam, satisfaction. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. The process of devotional activities from the beginning to the stage of transcendence is all duly explained to satisfy the inquiries of Vyasadeva. So in the beginning of this chapter, Vyasadeva had asked to Narada Muni that after you received the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of Bhakti, how did you follow the path of Bhakti? How did you further progress? So here Narad Muni in this shloka is revealing all his secrets. In the shloka, he uses the word Janma Karma Rahasyam Me. The mystery of his birth and his activity. He opens up in front of Vyasadeva. And further, Prabhupada says in the purport that Narad Muni has explained how the seeds of devotional service were sown by transcendental association and how they gradually developed by hearing the sages. So Narad Muni tells Vyasadeva how he received the seed of bhakti by association with the Bhakti Vedantis and how he continued his Shravan and Kirtan and eventually he had a vision of the Lord. Prabhupada says further in the purport, the result of such hearing is detachment from worldliness. So much so that even a small boy who received the death news of his mother was his only caretaker as the blessing of God. So on the path of bhakti, through hearing, maturity automatically comes. I know when my mother passed away, I was 30 years old. This 5-year-old boy, Narad Muni, is able to remain composed and detached by the news of his mother's death. But even at the age of 30, I was not able to handle her. And it took me good 3 to 4 years to come out of grief. But even in my case, it's interesting to note that for me as well, it was Shravanam, the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, that pulled me out of grief. Um, in Gujarat, there was a very famous Krishna Bhakt, and he was a poet, Narsi Mehta. So his bhajans, he has written, they're very, very beautiful. They are called Prabhatya. Prabhatya means the songs that are worth remembering in the morning. So in a lot of Gujarati households, his bhajans are heard regularly. So when Narsi Mehta was 5 years old, his parents died. And when his own son, Shamal, when he turned around 17, he died. And soon, out of the grief of losing the son, Narsi Mehta's wife, Manik, also died. So at that time, everyone was trying to console Narsi Mehta. He sang a remarkable bhajan. He said, Bhalu thayo bhangi janjal, sukhe bhajishu Shri Gopal. That it's good that this janjal, the jar, in Hindi as well, we say makti ka jar, jal. So he said it's good that this web of Maya is broken. Now I'll be able to perform bhakti for Gopal peaceful. So see how detached, how mature Krishna Bhakt is. And our 5-year-old boy Narad Muni, he had the same maturity. But I didn't have this maturity even at the age of 30. So, what was lacking in my case, the association of devotees, the inspiration of the scriptures. I often think that, if Srimad Bhagavatam had come into my life a little bit earlier, I would have been able to emotionally handle the death of my mother a lot better. So Srimad Bhagavatam prepares us for much material life as well. Sometimes people grow physically, but mentally and emotionally, they may not mature. So they continue to have the same asakti, the same attachments. And that's why spirituality is really important. So that's what hearing about Krishna did to this 5-year-old boy, Narada. When he lost his mother, who was his only caretaker, he said, this is Lord's mercy, anugraha. So this vairagya, this detachment, it automatically comes along with bhakti. Prabhupada says further in the purport, and at once he took the opportunity to search out the Lord. Sincere urge for having an interview with the Lord was also granted to him. So Srila Prabhupada is again and again using this word sincere. In this whole chapter, this word sincere has come quite a lot. So Narad Muni had a sincere desire to see the Lord. He went to the forest and he had a vision of the Lord. There is a verse in Bible, seek and you will find. In Hindi, we also have a bhajan. कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, we have story of Dhruv Maharaj. So he was also a 5-year-old boy, and he also had a sincere desire to see Krishna. But you know why he wanted to see Krishna? He had a material desire. He wanted to ask for a kingdom that is greater than his great grandfather, Brahma's kingdom. But Srimad Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Tivrena bhakti yogena, with the great force of devotional service, yajeta purusham param, worship the Param Purush, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Akama sarva kamova. Whether you are akama, you have no material desire, or sarva kamova, you have all kind of material desires, or you are moksha kama udaradin, or you have desire for liberation. Whether you are akama, whether you are sarva kamova, or whether you are moksha kama, yajeta purusham param. So worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So Dhruva had this material desire. That's true. But his desire to see Krishna was sincere. It was genuine. So Krishna is Chaitya Guru. He resides in our heart. So when he says that you have sincere desire, he sends a guru. So our little Dhruva, he got Narada Muni's guidance, and within 6 months he had a darshan of the Lord. So our sincerity and bhakti, it holds a very special place in Krishna's heart. It doesn't go unnoticed. He knows. Further, Srila Prabhupada makes a very significant point in the purport. He says, although it is not possible for anyone to see the Lord with mundane eyes. In Bhagavad Gita 11.8, Krishna says to Arjuna, Natu mam shakyase drashtum anenaiva svachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshu Pashya me yogeshwara yogamaishwaram. So Krishna says, with your own eyes, swachakshusha, your current eyes, you cannot see me. Therefore, I'll give you divya chakshu, the transcendental vision with which you can see me. So even Arjuna couldn't see Krishna with his mundane eyes. Then, and how can one see Krishna? So how did Narada Muni see Krishna, and how did this little Dhruva Maharaj see Krishna? So Brahma Samhita gives the answer. Premanjana-churita bhakti-vilocanena Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yam shyama sundaramachintya gunaswarupam Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. So the Adi Purush, the primeval Lord, Govinda, he is Shyam Sundar. And he is Achintya Gunaswarupam. He has inconceivable, innumerable attributes. And pure devotees, Santaha, they see him in their hearts. Santaha Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayan. So how do they see him? Premanjalachurita Bhakti Vilochanena. With the eyes tinged with the kajal. I don't know the English word for kajal, but anyways, the eyes that are tinged with the kajal of prem, the anjan of love. So it takes eyes filled with love to see Krishna. One has to have gradually reached to the stage of prema. One has to have progressively go from, how Narada Muni described in the previous chapter, how he progressed from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and ultimately Prema. So when one reaches to the Prema stage of Bhakti, then his eyes become Premanjanachurita, Bhakti Vilochane. And then he can see Lord face to face. As Prabhupada says further in the purport, he also explained how by execution of pure devotional service, one can get rid of the fruitive action of accumulated work, and how he transformed his material body into a spiritual one. So here as well, Srila Prabhupada is referring to a Brahma Samhita shloka. Yastvendra Indra Gopamathavendra Maho Swakarma Bandhanurupa Falabhajanamatunoti Karamani Nirdahati Kintu cha Bhakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Karmani Nirdahati Kintu cha Bhakti Bhajam. Bhakti, it burns the karma. Everyone is bound by karma. Everyone is bound by the bandhan of karma. But one who performs bhakti of Govinda, his bhakti niradhati, his bhakti burns, the cuts off. It cuts off the karma bandhan. In Bhagavad Gita as well, in 18.66, Krishna says, Sarvadharma parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Surrender to me and I will destroy all your sins. Further in the purport, Prabhupada says, the spiritual body is alone able to enter into the spiritual realm of the Lord, and no one but a pure devotee is eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. All the mysteries of transcendental realization are duly experienced by Narada Muni himself, and therefore, by hearing such an authority, one can have some idea of the results of devotional service, which are hardly delineated even in the original texts of Vedas. So Narada Muni is sharing the mystery, the secret of his bhakti. He is sharing it openly with Vyasadeva. And through Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we are also getting to hear these secrets that can't even be found in Vedas. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedeshcha sarvair ahameva vedyo. Through Vedas, I am to be known. In the Vedas and Upanishads, there are only indirect hints to all this. Nothing is directly explained there. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of all the Vedic trees of literature. Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, the third shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama means Vedas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Galitam Phalam, the mature fruit of the desire tree, the Kalpataror of Nigama, Vedas. So Bhakti and Bhagwan, there is only few mentions about this in Vedas and Upanishads. And that too, some indirect hints only. But the speciality of Bhagavatam is that it is Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. It is full of the descriptions of the Bhakti and the Bhaktas. Let's go to verse 37. Sūta Uvacha Evam Sambhashya Bhagavanna Narado Vāsavīsutam Amantrya Vinam Ranayan Yayau Yadrichiko Munihi. Let's look at the word to word. Sūta Gosvāmī Uvacha said, Evam, thus, Sambhashya, addressing, Bhagavan, transcendentally powerful, Narada Muni, Vasavi, name Vasavi, Satyavati, Sūtam, son, Amantrya, inviting, Vīṇām, instrument, Ranayan, vibrating, Yayau, went, Yadrichiko, wherever willing, Munihi, the sage. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sūta Gosvāmī said, thus addressing Vyasadeva, Śrīla Nārada Muni took leave of him and vibrating on his vīṇā instrument, he left for Bonda at his free will. Purport, every living being is anxious for full freedom because that is his transcendental nature. And this freedom is obtained only through the transcendental service of the Lord. Illusioned by the external energy, everyone thinks that he is free, but actually he is bound up by the laws of nature. Conditioned soul cannot freely move from one place to another, even on this earth. and what to speak of one planet to another. The Prabhupada is saying that we are anxious for full freedom. So that means we have some freedom. Krishna has given us some free will. And having forgotten what we are, who we really are, we, the conditioned souls, we think that we are free. But are we fully free? So the second line of this purport says that full freedom is only obtained through service of the Lord. And the one who gives service, what's he called? Servant. So we are servant. Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. Das means servant. In ISKCON, when we get initiated, our name changes to XYZ Das or Dasi. So that's our goal, to be a Das, a servant. A Gopi Bhartru Padakam Valayor Das Dasanudasa. That's our goal. So we are always serving. We are serving someone or the other. We are serving something or the other. Because it is Jiva's nature to love. And out of love, we serve. We do things for the person we love. A mother serves her children because she loves them. A wife serves her husband because she loves him. And husband loves his children, so he wants to give them good material life. So he goes to work and he serves his employer. So we are always serving someone or something. So in our conditioned state also, we are servants only. But unfortunately, we are servants of our senses. We are Godasa. Go means Indriya, senses. So we are not Krishnera Nityadas, we are Godas. And Nectar of Instruction, the Upadeshamrit, it gives the definition of Godas. The one who can't control 6 urges, but he is controlled by them, is a Godas, servant of the senses. So what are these 6 urges? Vacho vegam, manasakrodha vegam, jihva vegam, udarupastha vegam, etan vegan, yovi saheta dhira, sarvam apimam prithivim sasishyat. So this is the first shloka of Nectar of Instruction. Who is a dhira, a sober person? Generally, we relate this word sober to the one who is not drunk, not intoxicated by alcohol. But Nectar of Instruction says, dhira, sober person is one who can tolerate 6 urges. Vacho vegam, the urge to speak. Manasa vegam, urges of mind, the demands of mind. Krodha vegam, the urge to be angry. Jihva vegam, urges of the tongue. And udara pastha vegam, udar and upastha, udara, the urges of the belly and the urges of the genitals. The one who can tolerate, the one who can curb these 6 urges is a sober person. And the spiritually sober person is not intoxicated by the forces of his senses. In Padma Puran, there is a shloka, I forgot the shloka, but it says that how can Krishna ever manifest to a person whose heart is invaded by lamentation, anger, and other agitations? So Prabhupada says here in the purport further that illusioned by external energy, everyone thinks that he is free. He thinks. So we are illusioned by external energy. So we might think that this Mayadevi is the villain. But actually, this external energy, the Krishna's Bahiranga energy, Bahiranga Shakti, it's a part of Krishna's plan to purify us. Once a brahmachari, Giriraj Das, he said to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, sometimes I fall into Maya. Prabhupada laughed and said, what do you mean sometimes you fall into Maya? You're always in Maya. Sometimes you come out of it. There is a bhajan by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, very beautiful. जीव जागो गौरचंद्र बोले होता निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचीरा कोले. Bhakti Vinod Thakur calls Maya Pishachira, a witch. So he says, how long will you sleep in the darkness of Maya's lap? Wake up, O fool, get up. Wake up and do Sankirtan. When you were in the womb of your mother, you promised you will come out and you will do Sankirtan. You will sing glories of the Lord. But you came out and this Pishachini, this witch, this Maya, you got illusioned by her and you forgot your promise. So we jivas, we are sleeping on the lap of this witch Maya. She has captured us. She has bound us. So then where is the question of being free? My apologies, dear devotees. I know we are a little bit over time, but um, should I continue discussing this verse, finish it, or do we want to continue tomorrow?
Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Yes, please continue.
So,
Yes,
where were we? Yes, so we are captured by Maya, and there is no question of being free. So, this material world is called Maithun Agar, the shackles of sex life. In the material world, the center of activities is lust, sex. So, just like in ordinary prison, criminals are kept within the bars. The criminals who don't obey the lords of the Supreme Lord, they are shackled by sex life. So, this lust is the symbol of ignorance, by which the living entity is kept within this material world. And while one enjoys this sense gratification, he may sometimes feel some happiness. But actually, this so-called happiness, this happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. So, what is this lust? Lust is the desire to enjoy the material energy. So, this desire in Gujarati we call mrugjal. So, when the deer is running in the desert, he sees some water far, far away and he runs faster and gets to that spot. But when he reaches there, he realizes there is no water. So, the water that he saw, it was an illusion, mrugjal. In English, they call it mirage. So, sense enjoyment is like that, Brugja. So, at best, the material enjoyment, it is available as a drops of happiness. But these little drops, they can never fully satisfy the heart. So, when we come into contact with the devotees and we get into contact with scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we acknowledge that Maya acts upon us. And then we stop identifying with the pushing of mind and the senses. Then we can become the observer of the mind and senses. In the second chapter of first canto, we learned this verse. Yad Yadnudhyasena yukta karma granthi nibandhanam chindanti ko vidastasya o na kuryat katharatim. We must cut this knot of material desire in our hearts. And how? With the sword of transcendental knowledge, the chindanti ko vidastasya. We must pray to Lord Chaitanya, we must pray to Lord Nityananda, please help me somehow become eligible to escape the grip of Maya. Prabhupada has written a small book, Teachings of Lord Kapila. It's also from Srimad Bhagavatam. So in that book, Prabhupada says Maya is very strong, and to begin devotional service is to declare war against Maya. In another lecture, Prabhupada also said that this movement, Krishna conscious movement, is a declaration of war against Maya. My Guru Maharaj, when I attended his first class, I immediately fell in love with him because his classes were very enlivening and there was a lot of humor and a lot of instructions. So he used to give this instruction. He used to say that it takes maturity to come to a point where one becomes serious and says, no, I will no longer play with this material energy. It's not worth it. I'm simply going to be very serious in my spiritual advancement. So situation is very serious and we should be serious. We should seriously take this opportunity that we have this human birth, and we should make best of this bad bargain and try to get out of this cycle of birth and death. So we see Srila Prabhupada, who took this Krishna consciousness very seriously. He was also joking. He was also playful. So seriousness doesn't mean that we exclude the playfulness. Our Guru Maharaj used to say something very touching. Let us all be playfully serious and seriously playful with Krishna. He used to say often in his class that we can laugh, we can be playful, and we can have fun in Krishna consciousness. But we have to be serious about serious things. We still haven't finished verse 36. I'm really sorry. But let's stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you so much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? Any quick questions or comments? Feedback? Comments?
Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. I always like your classes because they're full of many references from scriptures and you connect them very well. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you for a nice class.
Thank
Hare
you, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
I just take inspiration from Śrīla Prabhupada. When I hear his classes, because I like to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, when I hear his classes, I get a lot of shlokas. And when I hear Śrīla Prabhupada's class, now I can relate that in this line, he's referring to this shloka. Now he's referring. So whatever Śrīla Prabhupada has said is nothing out of whim. It's everything he has said. It is referenced from somewhere in the scripture. So that's how well versed Śrīla Prabhupada was. And we're just trying to repeat his words like parrots. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice class.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Wonderful
Thank you
class.
very
Thank
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
It was very inspiring. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.